When you're working on the command line as a beginner, one of the most frustrating errors you're going to run into is when you have spaces in the name of your files or a name of your folders. Let me show you a couple of examples of this situation. I'm pretty sure you have run into it if you are learning to use a command line. For example, let's say you have folders like this. I have my folder 1, my folder 2. I also have my folder 1, my folder 2. But the first one, I have my space folder space 1. So for us as humans, when we look at it, it looks fine. They both looks fine. We can understand it. Same with this Python files. We have a hello world Python file, but there is hello space world versus hello underscore world, right? But when you're working in the terminal, let's say I'm in this folder. If I do ls, you can clearly see this folder exists and I want to go into it. If I do cd my folder 1 and hit enter, you get an error saying too many arguments, because in the terminal, whenever it sees a space, it's going to think that's another thing, its own thing. Is there an option for the first command or another command? It just thinks it is some other thing. Normally, it is an option for the first command. cd is the first command, and this is basically like an option or an input to this command. So every time it sees a space, is going to assume you are adding multiple things. So in this case, it says too many arguments. Let's see if we can run this Python script. If I copy this guy, and if I say Python 3, paste that whole thing, hit enter, it's going to say no such file or directory. But you can clearly see the file is there. Why can't it find it? Because Python thinks hello is one thing. When we look at this command, hello is one thing and world.py is another thing. So whenever you have a space, the command line gets confused. So what's the solution for this? First of all, when you name things, don't put space if you can control it, right? But if it's something you downloaded or some other people's work that's already spaced in there and you don't want to mess with it, all you have to do is put it in quotes. So in this case, for example, if I want to run this script, let me clear that. I'll do Python 3, double quote, and the actual name, and close the double quote, hit enter, hello world. Again, if I want to go to that folder, I can do cd, double quote, my folder 1, close the quotes, hit enter, and I'm in there. So the solution is put double quotes, whether you're in Windows or Mac. This would work Mac, Linux, Windows, the same thing. And it is through any command. When you're working with Git, a lot of the errors I see with my students is when they're working with Git, they have a file and they put a space in the name. And when they say git add, Git says, hey, I can't find this file, but obviously it's right there. So you just put it in quotes. So try to avoid having space in the name. If you have to have the space in the name, just wrap it into quotes whenever you're running a command. So that is a tip that's going to save you a lot of headaches and a lot of debugging.